Hey guys, welcome back to another Five Nights at Freddy's video. Today we're going to be talking about some new Funko concepts I made for Funko merch. I made some action figures, some plushies, and some Funko snacks, which were revealed a little bit ago. I didn't make a video on them, but I made a community post, but if you want to check the community post out and see my thoughts of them, honestly, I kind of like them. Alright, let's get into the video. So the first piece of merch I want to talk about for this video are the toy animatronics. Now, I drew these, and I really like them. All of them besides the puppet. The puppet I'll talk about later. So let's start talking about them. First one I want to talk about is Toy Freddy. He's pretty good. He's just a live wire Freddy sculpt, but in a different color. I feel like Funko would do these as a recolor wave, maybe after the Ruin wave. But I don't think if they make a wave, they would add Mangle. But I've added Mangle because I thought it would be cool. So yeah. Toy Freddy, nothing really much to say about him. He's just a live wire Freddy, but without like all the little he had these things on his mold that were sticking out. I don't really know what they're called. I guess like kind of like wires, I guess, but they're not really hanging out. But they would get rid of those, and it would pretty much be perfect. And they just had to recolor him. There's two Toy Freddys I drew. I'll show you I have 3 exclusives, which I'll show you after I talk about these. Next one we got up is Toy Bonnie. And for Toy Bonnie, I don't know if he would be a recolor. I think they might actually have to redo the mold, because they added all those like little gaps between the live wire system error Bonnie. And I don't know if they'd be able to fix that easily, or they might have to make a new mold. But either way, I just reused the high score, system error Toy Bonnie, and it came out pretty good. Next one to talk about is Toy Chica. This one's pretty good. It's very simple. High score Toy Chica doesn't have those like little wire things on her torso and her head, so they can completely reuse that sculpt. The only one that they might have to redo is the arms, because they have those little wire things the live wire Freddy has. They're like pixels. So they might have to redo that. I don't really know. But in my opinion, this one wouldn't be too hard to do, and probably the most likely one to do. Alright, now let's talk about the Mangle. For Mangle, I used the Endo 02 sculpt that they made for like those mini Five Nights at Freddy's figures, and I used that for like the mechanical part, like the torso, the legs, the thighs, the upper arms, the lower arms, and the head of the endoskeleton. And for the parts that is Toy Foxy, I used the official Funtime Foxy action figure by Funko, not the one from Sister Rotation, the toy one in the Nightmare Wave, and I reused the head, the hands, and that's it. Oh, and the foot. But Funko did kind of make a Mangle before. Remember those little pens they made? In Wave 2, they actually made a Mangle pen. So, I used that as reference for the head. But, yeah, Mangle honestly looks pretty good, and I think it's my favorite out of the 5. But now let's talk about my least favorite of the 5, the puppet. The puppet is good for the body. I even you can take the arms off. And I based this off the Funko Pops. And also a while ago, Mr. Springs made a video saying that the puppet would be in a box if it was an action figure, and I liked that idea instead of giving it a stand. So I scrapped the one where it was standing up, and I did this one. So I credit him for that because he gave me the idea. But I used the Funko Pop as the body, and then I made a new sculpt for the head. But in my opinion, the head's too big, and for me, it was just too big or too small. So I decided to choose the big one. It looks, I think, in my opinion, better than the small one. So that's the normal set. Now let's talk about the exclusives. For the exclusives of this wave, I gave 3 characters of Toy Freddy, Toy Chica, and the Endo 02, because they already have the sculpts for the Endo 02, so it would technically be a pretty easy exclusive. All I have to do is add the little joints, and I think Funko might actually do this. Depends if they make the sculpt bigger. But I don't think they have to make a new one, they just have to make it larger. And for the exclusives, I gave Toy Freddy with the black eyes that's in the office, and Toy Chica without a beak. Recently, Funko's been doing new molds for the exclusives, like Captain Foxy, Live Wire Freddy, they gave him a new head, and Liberty Chica, which is probably the one that has the most detail in a Funko figure ever. And they're all exclusives, so I think it would be possible for them to do a Toy Chica without the beak. It's a pretty easy fix, all you gotta do is get rid of the beak. And the Endo 02 might actually be possible, like I said, the Liberty Chica, they gave her like so much detail, so they might be able to just make a small sculpt big. Now you might be saying, didn't they make a Balloon Boy sculpt too in those minifigures? Well, yes they did, but I noticed that Funko doesn't really make the smaller animatronics. They skip Bitty Bab, Mini Renas, Plush Trap, even though they have a mold for the arcade vinyl, which would be pretty easy, just make it small, and Balloon Boy too. And I think that they would skip this Like, in part 1 of the Funko concepts, I said they're probably not going to make Monty because he's cut in half. So I don't think they would make Balloon Boy either. But if they do, that'd be pretty cool. And I hope they do, but I like Balloon Boy. Alright, now let's talk about the plushes. So, for the plushes, I was thinking of remaking the toy animatronic plushes, but I think that would be for part 3, or I might just not do it. So I decided to make some of the toy ones, the Withereds. Sorry if I say that wrong, but I decided to make them. So let's talk about Withered Freddy first. Withered Freddy is pretty cool, in my opinion. He's probably my least favorite out of the ones I drew, but he's the tie-dye Freddy sculpt for the plush, but I gave him teeth and some withering and some buttons. I think they would also add like hanging wires off of his like ripped parts because he has a lot of hanging wires coming out of his legs and his arm. So nothing really to say about Withered Freddy. I also gave him usually Funko characters only have one of those little white dots, like the white dots for the light. I gave him 2 because I feel like the older plushes have the 2 dots instead of just 1. So and I thought that was cool. Next one I'm going to talk about is Withered Chica. This one is probably my second favorite. I used the tie-dye Chica mold, but I can also picture him using the Jacko Chica mold for this. I gave her new feathers on the top, so it's more like Withered Chica, a dirty bib, and her hands would have a whole bunch of wires coming out, maybe 3 or 4. And this one was pretty cool. The printing on the mouth, well, it's just printing, because I don't think they would make the plush have like a gap between it, because I feel like that would break. Alright, let's talk about Withered Foxy. This one is very similar to the tie-dye Foxy mold. I gave him the hook. I gave him an ear. His head would be a little bit different. There would be an endoskeleton showing, so it would be a little bit more boxier on that side. But I also gave him some teeth, and that's it for Withered Foxy. Now let's talk about my favorite one I made, Withered Bonnie. Now I used the Funko Pop as reference, that's why I gave him white eyes. And I gave him like these big puffy teeth. He would not have a second row of teeth, because I thought that wouldn't look good. But I really like this Withered Bonnie. I feel like the white eyes work better than the red. And I really like these plushes. I did not make any exclusives though, so sorry about that. Well, for the Withered animatronics, I didn't make Golden Freddy or anybody. But I did make some exclusives of the Rockstar animatronics. So, a while ago, Funko dropped a Security Puppet plush, which is the first Pizza Sim plush since the Pizza Simulator wave. So, if they do like another random release of those, I feel like they'd do Rockstar Bonnie and Rockstar Chica. And Rockstar Chica, I decided to reuse the tie-dye Chica mold again for the plush because I tried making a new one, but it just didn't look good. It looked more like a pelican or like a parrot. But this one looks pretty good in my opinion. It also has like those like things around the eyes that the Pizza Sim plushes have. Some of the newer ones too. I felt like that would look cool. And I gave her little maracas, which would be like the cupcake on Liberty Chica. It would just be a piece of fabric sewn on. Also, I gave her a new bib and some blue joints. For Rockstar Bonnie, which was my favorite one, I gave him cheeks that more puff out. That's one of the main characteristics of Rockstar Bonnie. He has a new sculpt for the head, and I reused tie-dye Bonnie's ears. He also has those little sockets around his eyes and a bigger muzzle. Honestly, I really like Rockstar Bonnie. I think he's the best plush I ever drew. But let's talk about some more exclusives of Nightmare Fredbear. So, for the Hot Topic exclusives, I made 2 more of Nightmare Fredbear and Nightmare. Now, Nightmare is just a recolor of Nightmare Fredbear, and Nightmare Fredbear reuses some of the tie-dye Freddy molds, a little bit for the head, but I changed it up a little bit because he has a little bit of a different head. And I gave him white around the red eyes instead of black because I feel like the white made it look better. So, nothing really to say about Nightmare Fredbear. He looks pretty cool. I gave him the stomach teeth, which would be like fabric just pasted on. The Nightmare teeth, which would be printed on, so it's not that weird plastic. And Nightmare has like the same thing, just a little bit more brighter colors. So yeah, that's really it for the exclusives. So I got the final wave of action figures, which are the Withered animatronics. I made these because I made the plushes. I made Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie, Withered Chica, Withered Foxy, and I made Withered Golden Freddy, which I did not plan doing, but it was an easy recolor. First one I'm going to talk about is Withered Freddy. He has the wires coming out of his leg. He doesn't have kneecaps, unlike Withered Bonnie and Withered Chica, because he doesn't have them. So that's really it for Withered Freddy. He would reuse Freddy's arms and legs, but slightly modified so they have more withering and kneecaps. He reuses Freddy's torso piece, and he has a new head mold. Bonnie would reuse Bonnie's legs, with one of them having a new mold, one of Bonnie's hands having a new mold, and the top right arm having a new mold. His head would obviously be new too. Withered Chica is basically completely new besides the torso, and Withered Foxy is also almost completely new. Withered Golden Freddy would just be a reuse of the original Freddy's mold, but it would be painted different, and his eyes would be hollow. So yeah, I thought these were pretty neat. I don't have any exclusives for these, but I do have 2 exclusives, which would be released around the Security Breach Wave 2, which I talked about in my previous video. So I'll show you those right now. So those 2 exclusives would be Sun and Moon. I really don't think Funko are going to skip out on these 2. They're so marketable, and they're not even that hard to make. Like, literally, they reuse the same head sculpt. They just have one of them has a hat, and the other one has like, these little spikes. So I really think Funko is going to make these, and I honestly think there might be an exclusive. So I made these ones at GameStop exclusive, but they look pretty cool in my opinion. These ones took me a while to make, but they were supposed to be in part 1. I put it in part 2. It came out pretty cool. So that's it for the action figures. Now I'm going to talk about the final piece of merch for today's video, the Funko Snaps. So a while ago, Funko leaked that we were getting 3 more Snap figures for Wave 2, actually 4. And that was Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Chica, and Toy Chica. We don't have any images, so I made some concepts for when they actually get revealed. I can compare them. We're also getting an Office set, which I think is a Ruin DLC, Clown Freddy, but I'm not sure on that. I remember I heard that a while ago. I don't remember where it was from though. So I made Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Chica, and Toy Chica, so I can compare them when they actually came out. So let's start talking about them. Nightmare Bonnie, he looks pretty cool. I gave him more accurate colors than the Funko figure. He has a more darker color scheme, and he also has the jump scare face. And that's what I'm talking about is Funtime Freddy, which is probably my favorite one I made. He has 2 arms. You might be noticing that because I don't think they're gonna mold Bon Bon into his arms. So I think they're just gonna give Bon Bon as an accessory for that little stick so he can hold it. So I just gave him 2 arms, and I think he's gonna hold Bon Bon. He also has a jump scare faceplate that I used from Baby, and it came out pretty cool. Nightmare Chica has a nightmare cupcake and an angry expression. I also gave her a silver eye instead of a blue eye, but Funko's probably didn't give it a blue eye, but they gave the reversible plush a blue one. The puppet I originally gave a second face, but it looked so stupid, so I got rid of it. The puppet doesn't have any other face, so this is probably fine. I also gave him a gift box because I don't know, that's just a little accessory. Toy Chica would have a normal face and then a jump scare face, which would have her without the beak. Sadly, they wouldn't be able to make the eyes black because the eyes are molded into the endoskeleton, but it's still pretty cool having the beakless Toy Chica. I feel like that would be pretty cool if they made that, and I gave him a toy cupcake. Now, Funtime Foxy, I didn't make a jump scare face for because I wanted to get this video out today, but who knows, maybe one day in the future I'll add a jump scare faceplate if this video does good. And Toy Freddy has an angry faceplate. I wanted to give Toy Freddy the black eyes from when he's in the office, but then again, you can't do it because the eyes are molded into the figure. But hey, it looks still pretty cool. So that's it for today's video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.